Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you an OP Blasphemous Blade build guide for an Elden Ring. So the Blasphemous Blade is a very powerful weapon and it's actually really good in the DLC as well. I was curious how well it would do in the DLC since it seems like there's going to be a lot of things that were weak or strong against fire, but I can confirm this weapon does a really good job regardless. So I'll be going over the full leveling guide for this weapon here, so we're going to go through it. If you're not level 150, that's okay. I'll talk about what stats you should prioritize on your leveling journey. And if you're above, I'll also talk a little bit about that. So at level 150, we should have around 50 Vigor. That's going to help you pass the Vigor test. 27 Mind allows us to cast the Taker's Flame 7 times before having to use a Flask. So that's a pretty solid number there that we want to stick with. If you go higher, you can put some into Mind. And I got 30 Endurance. I found that to be a good happy medium to be able to have a medium load. Now we want to have our poise at least 51. 56 is ideal because that'll allow you to resist 2 light attacks, so go for that if you can. We have 22 Strength, 15 Dexterity, which is required to be able to wield this in the first place, so you want to have those minimum stats. And 62 Faith. This is going to give us more damage in the Taker's Flame and all of our incantations. And then I also went with 15 Arcane. That gives us the ability to be able to cast some different incantations. If you want to go to 16, you can also get Swarm of Flies to stack bleed damage. But we're going to go with something like this. As long as you're medium rolling with around 51 to 56 poise, you're going to be set. I'm using the offhand, the Dragon Communion Seal, but you also can go with like the Erd Tree Seal. That's going to be a much better one for the higher faith scaling. But if you don't have it, you can go with the Dragon Communion or really any seal. Now for gear, I'm using the Halig Tree Helm because it's going to give us a little bit extra faith. Leather armor, Bulgo gauntlets, and greaves. We just want to be able to get our load to medium with 56 poise minimum. I'm using the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman for the damage negation. The Ritual Sword Talisman, I don't see a lot of builds using this, but it raises your attack power by 10% when your health is at its maximum. The reason I'm using this is because the Blasphemous Blade's Taker's Flames will heal you, and it actually has a really good healing on it. So you're going to stay around full health sometimes often, and especially if you're a Mimic tier out, they're going to be taking aggro and you can heal yourself and get more damage out. But if you don't want to use this, there are a couple other ones, like the Fire Scorpion Charm will raise attack power but lower damage negation, so you'll take a little bit more damage, but you'll get more fire damage, so that can be a really nice one. But I went with this because it's just going to flat out increase your overall attack power. The Carrion Filigree Crest will allow us to cast it the 7 times because this lowers the FP consumption of skills, the Taker's Flame. And then also Shard of Alexander greatly boosts the attack power of skills. That's a super useful one to have because we're going to be attacking often with our skills. So yeah, you can go with the lesser version, just the Warrior Jar Shard if you don't have that. And finally, I have Raw Meat Dumplings equipped because your Mimic will use these to heal and they can't be poisoned. Don't use these yourself, but the Mimic itself can heal from it. So typically, what we want to do in combat, L2, 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 L2. So, as you can see here, this thing does crazy amounts of damage. Like that did 2,300 damage to that Albinauric that was really close to us. So, you can see there, 2,000 damage. That's crazy. We haven't even buffed up yet. So, Flame Grant Me Strength is one of the best incantations. And you're going to see it's going to further increase the damage that we're dealing because it's going to give us fire damage. Oh, hit there. But, we get heal on kill, so whenever we take out enemies, our health is already back to full. So as I was saying, the reason I like that increased damage on whenever we have full health is because we're typically going to have full health with the amount of enemies that you can take out with this. So it's a nice one to have. Flame Grant Me Strength being one of the best incantations for this build. This is going to increase the fire damage and your overall strength damage, so I recommend that. But even for cantrips, or for spells that we want to be using, I like Pest Threads, especially on large bosses. Like if you're fighting the Fire Giant, this weapon sucks against Fire Giant, but Pest Threads can hit him multiple times and make the fight a whole lot easier. So this is your little hidden charm for bosses that are resistant to fire. Black Flame Protection is a nice one. It will reduce the amount of damage that the amount of health that your flasks will heal you. But the benefit of having this is you take a lot less damage. So it will help you tank some hits that you might not normally have tanked. With this build, we can go with more Cerulean Flasks, since we're going to be getting a lot of health back from just attacking. I also like to have Black Flame on there because it deals percentage-based damage. So for some of the bosses that have a little bit more damage, or a little bit more health, this can be extremely useful against them. I also have the Flame of the Fell God. This is a pretty useful spell, as you're going to see here. You get it from the Fire Giant, and it's just a big nuke. So it's got some pretty good damage to it, and it'll create a fiery surface there, which continually keeps hitting people. So that's a nice benefit of that. And then I also have the Giant's Flame Take Knee, which I'll show you in just a moment once I go and refresh the enemies. This build is crazy because we focus mostly on fire damage, which is not a bad damage type, but there are some things that can resist it. But then we also have options to be able to prevent that from being resisted. So that even just knocked him off the edge. But if we go Flame Grant Me Strength, so that did 868 damage, and then we try that again, it's going to have a little big dip there. So the damage that we can get, yeah, there's 1,000. So I would recommend going with the Flame Grant Me Strength before attacking with a lot of these. Also, if you got enough stats for it, you can throw on your offhand the Sword of Milos, because that's going to give you increased FP. So that can help you with just being able to cast the Taker's Flames more frequently. So that is another really nice option to go with for a sword if you want to pair something with the Blasphemous Blade, because you can power stance them. I completely missed it. You will require 19 dexterity, however, so that's one little downside of it, is you do need to have a little bit more dex to be able to take advantage of that. But as you can see there, it gave me my FP back, so that is really nice. So very useful there, and you can do jump attacks with it, so that's another way you can take the build. But yeah, we typically want to be using the Taker's Flames for most of our attacks. We also have Lightning Spear. This is a quick attack that you can get off really fast, and it doesn't use a whole lot of FP. So if there's targets that are a bit of a range from you, you can just spam this, and it's a pretty good spell overall, because most things don't have resistance to fire or to lightning damage. So that's something we can spam and take a lot of advantage of. So if you're a higher level than 150, I would prioritize getting your faith up a little bit higher. So taking your faith up to 80 for the soft cap would be my first priority with that. And then the rest, you can put a little bit more into your vigor, pump your mind up a lot higher, get it up to like 40 or so, as that's going to allow you to keep spamming the Taker's Flames. And also getting your endurance up higher would work as well too. So yeah, 80 faith is nice for the cutoff, and then the rest in your endurance and mind and vigor. So that would make this very powerful. But there it is. That is the Blasphemous Blade, a very powerful weapon in Elden Ring. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this useful, please hit that subscribe button below, and I'll see you all in the next video.